welcome. This morning we're going to be jumping into a series of stretching progressions and techniques throughout the entire body. We're going to start with the feet, kind of work our way on up. We're going to go after today a little posterior, kind of lateral leg complex stretching, as well as a lot of good built-in self-performed kind of manual therapy joint manipulation techniques for that ankle joint, so the talar curl joint, that mid-tarsal joint, especially that subtalar joint, as well as that tarsal metatarsal joint down in the foot and the ankle. So the foot and the ankle, feet are the body's eyes, posture is the foundation of function. The first to interact with the effects of gravity, momentum, inertia, and ground reaction force. Having things right there and setting things up correctly help set us up for success in that when we go to flip that first domino of all those dominoes that are kind of neatly set up and zigzagging all over the place, we know that we're going to get the right reaction based on how we kind of set things up. We know that the pieces of the puzzle that we put together are going to look like the picture that we need when we're done, instead of jamming pieces into the wrong spot. So let's start off with the foot and the ankle, and let's talk a little bit about that as well, and that's going to change. So we're going to go after just kind of some normal kind of gait-like stuff for something such as walking. We're going to get into in a series coming on up some running biomechanics as well, and how those are different from walking, how they start from kind of the toes, kind of the front part of the foot, and work their way to the rear foot to give us that same reaction. But we'll get in a little more specifically to that. Things that we've touched on before when it comes to walking and gait are transformational zone 1 and 2, so TZ1 and TZ2. We're going to go after both of those, and however we reference things as a TZ1 at times, depending on the direction, the speed, the driver, the angulation of kind of the environment that we're in, the foot's not perfectly always going to land and kind of in that forward direction. We're creatures of habit, but we're also creatures that are meant to survive in chaotic, unpredictable, unstable environments. We need to change directions and speeds anywhere. So I'll use a couple different reference points, and we're going to use kind of three kind of positions, or three ways to kind of drive in all these positions for TZ1 and TZ2. So I think these stretches, these three-dimensional mobility progressions are really going to kind of open some things on up for you. So the first thing we're going to do, I like to find a wall, some place to kind of put my hands, a railing, kind of a tree as well. So what we're going to do first, we're going to put our hands on the wall, and we're going to put them about shoulder high. Foot's going to be pointed forward, that is key, and left foot is going to be flat on the ground. So what you're going to do is drive your knee forward until you can barely touch that wall. Right heel can be off the ground. So we're just kind of in this LXX, this lunge position here. And so I can't quite touch right there. So I'm going to drive forward right over my big toe. Drive forward right over my big toe. Great stretch for the posterior and the lateral kind of leg complex. Great mobility, self-mob technique for the foot and the ankle. Second position, we're going to drive down and in on a 45-degree angle. These two positions replicate gait in what we call that TZ1. And we go outside of the midline of the body. Also a TZ1 if we're changing directions or speeds, but biomechanically at the foot and the ankle, not the knee and the hip, what the foot and the ankle do in TZ2 of gait, but we'll use it for TZ1. And so we're going to go down and in on a 45-degree angle. Down and in on a 45-degree angle. And then we're going to go down and away. Down and away on a 45-degree angle. And we'll do another one right there. So those are our three positions for our on-wall, called our closed kinetic chain, kind of on-wall knee drivers. Three different positions. What we can also add with those is when we get to end range, kind of right before we touch that wall, a little oscillation. 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. Helps give us, provide feedback. Essentially kind of load things, and then takes us to the point of stabilization while being able to break up some good adhesions and some good knots. What I also love to do in these kind of positions too, kind of with those oscillations, what I'll do is, or with my knee driver, as I drive straight in, I'm going to add an in-sync reach as I drive my knee kind of 10 degrees to the right over my big toe, and then I'll go 45 degrees. And then I'll go 45 degrees, and then I'm going to drive out of sync as I drive my knee 45 degrees to the left, taking my right hand, rotating and reaching. And then I also have, with my knee driver, I can have a little frontal plane kind of pendy swing right here. Little frontal plane kind of pendy swing. Let's drive that dorsiflexion and eversion at 0 or kind of 10 degrees down and in, or 45. And then I can drive it kind of out of sync as my left knee is driving out for the dorsiflexion version of that foot, that ankle. I also like to go, if I want to bias a little more frontal plane, so the side to side, and get the subtalar shaken up, I'm going to come on in and use my knee as a driver. So I drive it straight on in, and then I use it as a windshield wiper that kind of teeter-totters, kind of side to side a little bit. Side to side a little bit. I will use what I call a TZ1 kind of calf driver and a TZ2 calf driver right here. And so it's gonna look a little bit similar in that. So we're here, but we're on tippy toe. You're here, you're gonna drive forward. We'll use a wedge. We'll come on in. We'll go kind of side to side. We'll add our rotations. So that's TZ1, pretty similar in what we just did. We're just bringing up that right foot to make it a single leg toe touchdown rather than that LXX or kind of lunge stance. What I also want you to do in terms of like a TZ2 now, so let's go after that left foot. So let's pretend like it's the back leg and gate, which it is, hands on a wall. And what I'm gonna have you do, left foot flat on the ground, let's use your right knee. And I want you to just kind of drive forward and backwards for me in the sagittal plane. And then I want you to lean in well. Lean in well with the arms. And you're gonna take that right leg kind of as a windshield wiper. Let that foot kind of roll up and down on you. Let it roll up and down. And now we're going to add some rotation to kind of get things twisted on up. And so we can go back to our previous episodes in terms of kinetic linking Friday and our gait videos and take a look at biomechanically what we're trying to do. And so we're using the effect of this oscillation and this teeter-totter to kind of use this pivot and go in the opposite direction, to go in the direction that we desire, let's say for a TZ2. But then again, for a TZ1 and a TZ2, it's not always going to look the same, what the foot and the ankle do, because we don't live in a bubble world that's completely flat without chaos and unpredictable variables. We need to be able to and be prepared to move anyway. So let's now go with what we call just a little calf stretch. So what I want you to do now is to take a towel, roll it up, place it under your forefoot. Right here, I'm going to use a couple dowels. You can put hands on the wall, you can use a doorway. But these are all great mobs as well for, again, that table curl joint, mid-tarsal joint, subtalar joint. So what I'm going to have you do is take a little step forward. Keep that right foot flat on the ground. You have to play around with the positioning of the towel a little bit. So we went forward, and then we went 45 to the left. It's important that the toes are pointed forward on these. And then we went a 45 to the right. 45 to the right. Good. So those are some great ways that you can go about kind of stretching out the posterior lateral leg complex as well as the foot and the ankle. do want to add a little kind of twist to what we did with the, call them the TZ1 kind of calf drivers, the on-wall knee drivers, if you will. Over time, as you become more mobile, we can roll up a towel and place it underneath the foot, and we can start to kind of wedge things in and out in different positions. It takes a highly skilled person to be able to do that. Let's keep it simple right now, and that, you know what, we're going to use this black wedge, and let's go kind of right foot. So what that's going to look like is I'm here and I'm here, and that's really going after those little joint capsules down in the foot and the ankle and that tissue. Let's kind of drive it down and in on a 45, down and in on a 45, and out and away on a 45, out and away on a 45. We're trying to twist up that foot and ankle so that we can allow the body to adapt, so that we can allow the midfoot and the forefoot to unlock the shape to the contour and the change in surface and terrain that we're in, and so that we can have a good solid base of support to be able to spring off of and propel from. As well, play around with those stretches. They're going to be a great addition to helping you and enabling you to continue to do the recreational activities that you enjoy doing, the occupational activities that you enjoy doing, but most importantly, get that chain reaction going, keep the hips healthy, and keep the body moving